There's a famous shlok in Sanskrit which conveys the dilemma of life. Ananta shastram bahulasya vidya svalpasya kalo bahuvignatacha. Ananta shastram. Now scriptures play a significant role in our life. They're a manual for mankind. But if we just look at the principal sacred texts of our Sanatan Dharma, we have the Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, 18 Purans, 18 Upapurans. That's more than 70,000 pages, more than 630,000 Sanskrit shloks. Now where do we start? Ananta Shastram, Bahulasya Vidyaha. There's countless branches of knowledge, countless degrees. Just to master one degree, it takes years. Bahulasya Vidyaha. Swalpasya Kalo. Time is very limited. If we estimate an average lifespan of 80 years, approximately 20 years go into sleeping, 13 years in work and education, almost 6 years in household chores and maintenance, 4 years in commuting, nearly 2.5 years in eating, and over 1 year in just the bathroom. If we think about it, we don't have that much time. Swalpasya Kalo. Bahuvignatacha. There's many obstacles and distractions. We encounter physical challenges such as illness, financial hardships, mental strain, family issues. There's conflict and concerns in our worldly affairs. Now this is the dilemma. So what do? We need to pursue. We should focus on what's essential. Now if a person doesn't possess clarity of what's essential, even after an entire lifetime, after earning money, even millions, after raising a nice family, developing a good name and reputation, after becoming successful, they still experience emptiness, as if they've wasted their entire life. But now who teaches us what Sarbhut is, what's essential, what's worth pursuing? Shri Swaminarayan Bhagwan Jai, Akshar Purushottam Maharaj Jai, Gunatitanand Swami Maharaj Jai, Bhagat Maharaj Jai, Shriji Maharaj Jai, Yogi Maharaj Jai, Pramukh Swami Maharaj Jai, Mahant Swami Maharaj Jai, Surat Akshardham Mahotsavni Jai. There's a famous shlok in Sanskrit which conveys the dilemma of life. Ananta shastram bahulasya vidya svalpasya kalo bahuvignatacha. Ananta shastram. Now scriptures play a significant role in our life. They're a manual for mankind. But if we just look at the principal sacred texts of our Sanatan Dharma, we have the Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, 18 Purans, 18 Upapurans. That's more than 70,000 pages, more than 630,000 Sanskrit shloks. Now where do we start? Ananta Shastram, Bahulasya Vidyaha. There's countless branches of knowledge, countless degrees. Just to master one degree, it takes years. And to fully realize the complete extent of a specific degree, of a specific field, even an entire lifetime is insufficient. Pujya Dr. Swami used to mention an ENT specialist from Mumbai. His name was Dr. B.R. Desai. And for 30 years, he specialized in just the human ear. And even in that, he focused on just deafness. After all these years of study and all these years of experience, he said that he's still unable to fully comprehend the anatomy of the human ear. Bahulasya vidyaha. Swalpasya kalo. Time is very limited. If we estimate an average lifespan of 80 years, approximately 20 years go into sleeping, 13 years in work and education, almost 6 years in household chores and maintenance, 4 years in commuting, nearly 2.5 years in eating, and over 1 year in just the bathroom. If we think about it, we don't have that much time. Svalpascha kalo. Bahuvignata cha. There's many obstacles and distractions. We encounter physical challenges such as illness, financial hardships, mental strain, family issues. There's conflict and concerns in our worldly affairs. Now this is the dilemma. So what do? The shlok, it explains the solution. Yat sarabhutam tad upasaniyam. We need to pursue. We should focus on what's essential. Now if a person doesn't possess clarity of what's essential, even after an entire lifetime, after earning money, even millions, after raising a nice family, developing a good name and reputation, after becoming successful, they still experience emptiness, as if they've wasted their entire life. But now who teaches us what sarbhut is, what's essential, what's worth pursuing? And that's the Satpurush. Before the online 15-day Akshabram Gunatit Satra that just recently took place this past year, Mahant Swami Maharaj explained, most important, Sauthi agatyani vastu che, Nishtha, Maharaj Swami Nishtha. Now going back to the shlok, Yat sarabhutam tad upasaniyam. What is the most essential thing that we need to pursue, that we need to focus on in our life? That's Nishtha. Maharaj Swami Nishtha. Complete conviction in Maharaj and Swami. Now in many Vachanamruts, Bhagavan Swami has explained the significance of Nishtha. For example, in Garra section 163, Maharaj uses the term Nishay. After describing the greatness of Bhagwan, Maharaj says, Jene mahima sahit Bhagwan no Nishay, hradayma drad thayo hoy, tene kay karu rayu nathi. When a person possesses firm conviction of Bhagwan in their heart, there is nothing left to do. In other words, he or she experiences absolute fulfillment. Now, this is an experience that the entire world craves, an experience that the entire world strives for, the reason why anyone does anything and everything. In the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, in the 3rd skand, there's a dialogue that happens between Vidurji and Maitreya Muni. Vidurji asks a question, and in the question, he describes the reality of life. He says, Sukhaya karmani karoti loko, na tehi sukham va, anyad uparamam va, vindeta bhuyas tata eva dukham. Outside in the world, when people engage in karma, the reason why people perform action is sukh, for happiness. But what's surprising, na tehi sukham va, anyad uparamam va. Not only do they not attain sukh, but their dukh, their misery doesn't subside. On the contrary, vindeta bhuyas tata eva dukham. Even after constantly trying to attain sukh, their dukh actually increases. This is the predicament of the entire world. But Shriji Maharaj, in just one line, resolves this predicament. He explains that fulfillment, it doesn't lie in materialistic pleasures or in fulfilling our worldly desires. It lies within our Nishtha, our conviction of Maharaj and Swami. Gunatitanand Swami, in his talks, he's also explained the spiritual significance of Nishtha, of Nishay. Swami says, Nishay re ej ekantik panu. He equates Nishtha with ekantik panu, the ultimate spiritual state, Brahmi Sthiti. The reason why Shriji Maharaj has come in this world, Jivo ko Brahmrup karke. The reason why Maharaj has remained present through the lineage of Akshar Brahm Gurus to gift us with ultimate liberation by elevating us to the Brahmic state. In another vat, Gunatitanand Swami explains that when a person possesses Nishay, they transcend fear. He gives an example. So karod marn dharna hoy. Now 1 marn, it's a measurement of weight that's used in India. 1 marn is equivalent to 20 kilograms. So karod marn dharna hoy. If someone has 20 billion kilograms of grains, ane 100 karod rupya hoy. If a person has 1 billion rupees, then Swami explains, jo kaal pade, if a famine were to strike, they wouldn't have any fear. They wouldn't experience insecurity. Gunatitanand Swami gives another drashtant, another example. Be hajar bhaktariya hoy. If a person was surrounded by 2,000 alert and armed soldiers, he or she wouldn't have any fear of being robbed. And then Gunatitanand Swami explains, Temaj, in the same way, Temaj mahima sahid nishay vadane bhik nahi. A person who possesses conviction, nishay, does not have any fear, not even fear of death. And that is why Mahant Swami Maharaj explains that Nishtha is the most important, it's the most essential. Now, what is Nishtha? What is Nishay? Shriji Maharaj in the Vachanamrut clarifies what Nishtha is. In Gara section 3, number 27, Maharaj describes some of the virtues of a true sant that are found in our scriptures. Nishkam, detachment from desire. Nirlobh, detachment from greed. Nirman, detachment from ego. Niswad, detachment from taste. And Nisne, detachment from worldly affection. And then Maharaj says, Eva santna vachan ma dhrad vishwas karo, tene nishay kahe. He characterizes Nishtha by faith. Firm faith in the words of the Satpurush is Nishtha. So on the path of spirituality, faith is most important. Now, even in the outside world, we experience the significance of faith in our everyday life. People have faith in themselves. Ralph Waldo Emerson, considered one of the most influential figures in American history, he's known as a father of transcendentalism, a famous American essayist, poet, philosopher, lecturer. Emerson famously wrote, "Self-trust is the first secret of success." So people have faith in themselves, which is an essential necessity to succeed. People have faith in others. Children have faith in their parents. Students have faith in their teachers. Patients have faith in doctors. Employees have faith in their managers. Citizens have faith in the government. The entire world runs on faith. In the same way, on the path of spirituality, faith is most essential. Without faith, our conviction remains as a simple belief. For example, many people believe in the existence of God. Even the greatest intellectuals, Isaac Newton, a key figure in the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment. He was a mathematician, a physicist, astronomer, alchemist, author, inventor, and many other things. In 1687, he published his book Principia Mathematica, the mathematical principles of natural philosophy. In established classical mechanics, he formulated the laws of motion and universal gravitation. But for Newton, the very existence of gravity was proof of divinity. Newton said, gravity explains the motions of the planets, but it cannot explain who sets the planets in motion. His laws of gravity describe the mathematical and scientific rules by which the planets orbit the sun. They could explain, or they could keep a planet in orbit, but they couldn't explain how the planets got there in the first place, or how all the planets were moving in the same direction and in the same plane. Albert Einstein, the scientist who came up with the world's most famous equation, E equals mc squared, made significant contributions to quantum theory and developed the theory of relativity. Now for Einstein, just observing the order and harmony of the universe, the fact that the universe follows logical mathematical rules which the human mind can try to understand, that itself was a miracle for him. That itself was proof of an existence of a higher intelligence. So many people believe in the existence of God or some higher reality, but to transform that belief into realization, to realize God, to experience कि ए भगवान आपने मर्या छे, that we have physically attained that very God, that requires faith in the Satpurush. And that is why many times Mahant Swami Maharaj has emphasized the absolute necessity of faith in the Satpurush. He explains कि प्राप्ति समझ भी होय, Prapti anubhavi hoy. To not simply know or talk about Prapti, but to realize it, to experience it. He says, Kevar Vishwas, only faith. And even if we perform thousands of other spiritual endeavors, hajaro sadhana ubha kariye, we will still never be able to understand what we have attained. And then Mahant Swami Maharaj very logically explains that having faith in the Satpurush, it's not blind faith, but in reality, it's experiential faith. Prapti dekhai, we can see it. In 2017, Mahant Swami Maharaj was in Nairobi. It was Kishore Din, and the evening program was based on a drama in which a Kishore was involved in a relationship. When Swami Shri gave his blessings, he said, Vishwas hoy to badhu kaam thei jai. The secret to everything, the secret to every spiritual attainment is just faith in the Satpurush. And then Swami Shri clarified, this isn't blind faith. But he explained, we see the life of our gurus, completely selfless. They've done so much for us. Apna માટે કેટલું ઘસાયા છે. The Satpurush possesses only 2 pieces of clothing, one gateryu and one dhotyu. Eats 2 morsels of food, works nearly 18 hours a day, અને લાભ ન થાય, from which the Satpurush gains no benefit. We see their life, selfless service. And today, when we look at Mahant Swami Maharaj, we're able to experience his every word, absolute selflessness. He only has one wish, for us to become ekantik, for us to become Brahmrup, for us to experience eternal peace and happiness, for us to experience the bliss of God. When Swami Shri was recently in Mehsana, there was a grahan, an eclipse, and before the sabha, there's a goshti that happened between Swami Shri and the London Santo regarding the Bal Kishore activities. In that goshti, Swami Shri clarified his vision. He said, Badane ekantik karva chhe. He wishes to make every barak, every baharika, every kishore and kishori, every youth, everyone who comes into his association, ekantik. He only wishes to gift us God. In one of his ashirvads, Swami Shri folded his hands and very humbly said, Amari પાસે તો ભગવાન જ છે, બીજું કાંઈ નથી. એક ભગવાન જ રાખ્યા છે અને એ ભગવાન એમને આપણને આપવા છે. After Shatabdi Mahotsav, there's a goshti that happened between Swami Shri and the Sevak Santo. In that goshti, Pujya Sanchari Swami asked Swami, in the outside world, people love one another. But what is the difference between that love and the love that the Satpurush has towards the devotees? At that time, Swami Shri immediately replied. He said one word, Nisvarth, selfless. And then Swami Shri explained, Amare to kai pamu che nahi. I have nothing to attain, પણ ભગવાન આપવા, to give God. બીજો કોઈ સ્વાર્થ નથી. Not even the slightest selfish motive, not the slightest wish to gain. And for this, the Satpurush has surrendered his entire life. In 2017, when Mahant Swami Maharaj was in London, after Cheshta, Swami returned to his room. At that time, Bhadra Swami said, કે Swami Bapa, meaning Pramukh Swami Maharaj, Swami Bapaની જેમ આપે પણ ખૂબ વિચરણ કર્યું છે અને સ્વામી બાપા જેટલા જ ગામ ફર્યા હશો. Bhadra Swami told Mahant Swami Maharaj that like Pramukh Swami Maharaj, you've also done so much vichran. You've traveled to the same amount of villages as Pramukh Swami Maharaj. And in response, Swami Shri silently nodded. He nodded in agreement and said, for the first 15 years, 15 varas સુધી શરૂઆતમાં, I was with Bapa, and then on behalf of him. Now, if we just think about Pramukh Swami Maharaj's vichran, that itself is beyond imagination. Even when we physically read about it, we're unable to mentally conceive it. No words can describe his vichran. There's no comparison. But Mahant Swami Maharaj said, in Jayame Nirikya, the 4th bhag, which Mahant Swami Maharaj himself wrote, Swami had written, કે શ્વાસો શ્વાસ ભીડો જ વેઠે છે. He wrote this about Pramukh Swami Maharaj, that every breath he undertakes hardships. Even though Pramukh Swami Maharaj has done this much vichran, there's no comparison, but only one thing can compare to Pramukh Swami Maharaj's vichran, and that is Mahant Swami Maharaj's own vichran. For decades, Swami Shri has traveled continuously, non-stop. He's done vichran in the most ordinary villages without any facilities, has traveled more than 300, 400 and even 500 kilometers by road in one day, has done thousands of padramani's, responded to hundreds of thousands of letters, has met, consoled and guided countless. Even today, at the age of 92, he's going against his physical condition, his physical limitations, undertaking hardships that we will never be able to imagine. Once Uttam Yogi Swami told Bapa that even moving your hand is a project. And that's when Swami, he agreed. Even in this condition, Swami still writes. In that Goshti, Mahant Swami Maharaj described his physical condition. He said, there's muscle che, but no muscle strength. Every movement he makes is not because of strength, but because of willpower. During the Shatabdi Mahotsav, he said that he's able to do everything only because of Atmanishta. Otherwise, he would have to lie in bed the entire day. Even in this physical condition, Swami Shri still continues to do vichran. So we experience his selflessness. And when we reflect on this, through the grace of Bhagwan and Sant, our faith in him, our faith in his words, they automatically increase. Our Nishtha increases. For example, the teachings that the Satpurush conveys. One type of teaching is the words that relate to Siddhant. The Satpurush has explained that Shriji Maharaj Sarupari Bhagwan che. What some people refer to as Parabrahm, as Purushottam, Parameshwar, Paramatma, God, the ultimate reality, the supreme power, it je kai che, e Shriji Maharaj che. Gunatitanand Swami is Akshar Brahm, the very Akshar Brahm that all the Veds glorify. Sarve Veda Yat Padama Mananti. The Akshar Brahm that all the Upanishads proclaim, that every chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita extols. That Akshar Brahm is Gunatitanand Swami. And the Satpurush, today Param Pujya Mahant Swami Maharaj, he is that very entity. He is Akshar Brahm in the present form of Shriji Maharaj, Purushottam. And that is why this New Year's letter, Swami Shri wrote, Sakshat Akshar Purushottam Mane Pragat Madhya che. When we have faith in his words, we don't just believe in this Siddhant, we realize this Siddhant. We experience our Prapti. The second type of teachings are those which express his Ruchi, his Agna. For example, what to see and what not to see. What to hear, what not to hear. What to eat, what not to eat. What to do and what not to do. Having faith in these words, in the niyams he's given us, even though sometimes we may feel as if these niyams restrict us, they limit our freedom, they prevent us from enjoying. Many times Pramukh Swami Maharaj used to say, "A niyamo bandhan nati, mukti na sadhan che." These niyams are for our benefit, to eternally liberate us from misery, for us to experience ultimate peace and happiness. When we have faith in these words, we automatically begin to live our life according to the ruchi of the Satpurush, according to the wishes of the Satpurush. Now, all of this is possible through faith, faith in the Satpurush. And through the grace of Bhagwan and Sant, we can increase our faith every day just by looking at our gurus, by reflecting on their divine virtues, on their life, by praying to them. And when our faith increases, our Nishtha automatically increases. Yat sarabhutam tad upasaniyam. So now let us pray to Maharaj and Swami and Pragat Guru Hari Mahant Swami Maharaj that through their grace we are able to cultivate firm faith in their words. Shri Swaminarayan Bhagwan Ni Jai.
Thank you for joining us today and listening with such devotion. Bhagavan Swaminarayan has taught us the power of listening to katha. It purifies our mind and brings us closer to God. So if this katha helped you, give it a like, subscribe for more, and share it with someone you care about. Until next time, Jai Swaminarayan.